All right, so for A, theta is up here. So this is the angle that I'm using, okay? So remember what Miss Poole told you step 1 was. So step 1, identify your opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse sides. So using this angle, the opposite side, all the way across from it, not touching, is 36. So 36 is going to be my opposite. Now, hopefully we see that 39 is the longest and it's across from the right angle. So that's the hypotenuse. And then the 15 side, that last side, is touching the angle. So that is your adjacent side, okay? So what I want you to do with this knowledge is find the trig ratios for the indicated theta or angle A, all right? So for this one, our trig ratios, if we take the sine of theta, some old hippie, so old over hippie, opposite is 36 over hypotenuse, which is 39. And if we do 36 divided by 39 and you simplify that, that should be 12 over 13. Okay? All right, so we did the opposite for old hippie over the hypotenuse. Okay? Now for cosine, because it says find all the trig ratios. So cosine of theta, we're going to do the adjacent side over the hypotenuse because cosine has caught another hippie. So another 15 over hippie, which is 39. And if you reduce that, 3 goes into both of them. So this should reduce to 5/13. All right, and then the last one, tangent. I'm running out of room. Tripping on acid. So on acid, we need the opposite side, which is 36. That's what we labeled it earlier. Over the adjacent side, which is 15. Okay, and if I go to reduce that, 3 goes into both of those as well. So that would be 12 over 5. And you can just leave it 12 over 5. You don't need to change it to a mixed number. All right? So hopefully you feel okay with that. I'll do one more example just because I feel the side is not up here. I'm going to skip to C. This third side is not up here, but we can use Pythagorean theorem to find the third side real quick, okay? So if I do a squared, because this is a leg, plus b squared, and we find C, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Square root of 3 squared is just 3 plus 9 equals c squared. So that would be 12 equals c squared, which means c is the square root of 12, right? Because you would square root both sides. And then we can reduce that. The biggest perfect square that goes into it is 4 times 3. So square root of 4 is 2. So this third side should be 2 square root of 3, okay? So they didn't give you the third side on your homework. I believe they give you all 3 sides. But if they didn't, you could use Pythagorean theorem to find the third side, all right? Now, back to our trig. Find the trig ratios for the indicated angle theta. So first, find theta and identify your 3 sides. Which one's the opposite, which one's the hypotenuse, and which one is the adjacent, okay? So our opposite side is all the way across from that theta, not touching it. So this side over here, that's my opposite. My hypotenuse is always the longest side, and we just found it. We found C. So this is my hypotenuse. And then your adjacent is always that third side that is touching the angle. So you see how this side is touching the angle? This is my adjacent side. All right, so again, we're going to use our some old hippie called another hippie to help us find these trig ratios. So the sine of theta, some old hippie. So old and hippie is the opposite, square root of 3, over the hypotenuse, which is 2 square root of 3, And then if we wanted to simplify this, the square root of 3's would cancel, right? Square root of 3 divided by square root of 3 is just 1. So you're left with 1 over 2. All right? Now, for cosine, I need to remember to color code because I keep forgetting that. So some old hippie with sine. Cosine is caught another hippie. So we need another, which is the adjacent. So another 3 over hippie, hypotenuse is still 2 square root of 3, right? And then in Math 3, you will learn how to simplify that. We did not do that yet this school year, so I'm okay if you guys leave it just like that, all right? And then lastly, the tangent of theta. We already did some old hippie. Then we did caught another hippie. So now we are tripping on acid. So on square root of 3, opposite, over acid, which is 3. And that does not simplify because this square root of 3 is in a radical and this one is not. So you guys can just leave it as square root of 3 over 3. Okay? Hopefully you feel good with this. If not, hop on Zoom with me or your other teachers and we will definitely help you out.